True back. Yeah, just wanted to hop on here real quick. Just saw a real inspiring um, video from MatrixMaze, so I want to give a shout out. Um, and this is partially in response to that. And that video I watched of his was it was about an academic who compared trans women to parasites, quote unquote, occupying the bodies of the oppressed. And I thought that was interesting because that does kind of paint a picture of the transgender agenda. Because like a parasite doesn't need its own intestine, or it doesn't need certain properties because it uses those of the host. So I can see that as a metaphor. Just speaking as a poet and songwriter, I see how that statement, it can be both legitimate and offensive depending on whichever side you stand on. I see it for what it's worth because it paints a picture with a very broad brush. You can see the stroke on that one, where they were going with this whole thing to begin with, since it goes back to the 1930s. Check it out. Transgenders in general. And I also wanted to point out, I have a lot of nephews and nieces. And a while ago, one of them pointed out to me this idea. This was so mind blowing, that Jesus Christ is the first androgynous being that is transgender, because Jesus was born only of a female, but is recognized as male. So therefore occupying, both sides of the spectrum at the same time. That was an interesting revelation. So it made me think of, maybe Jesus Christ, or the idea of Jesus, is a gatekeeper in this transgender movement. And that's why the church and religion is the way that it is, and so forth. But something to think about. I just wanted to put it out there while it's still fresh on the brain. But as I maintain, I'll come back to you again. All right. Marinate on that. Bluu, Truu.